Just made a noise. So technically, we're on live right now.
Oh,
but I'm going to wait for it to show. We're going to give people a chance to catch up.
It's going to kill a little time with me breathing. I am nobody's father.
Thank Jesus.
I know, right?
I am nobody's father. Are we on? Oh, we're on. Check it out.
Oh, shit, we are on.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so we just started. I don't want to see, like, how many people are watching.
Yeah, and that's tripping me out, too. It's like Back to the Future, because I can hear you saying shit we just said, like...
A minute and a half ago?
A minute and a half ago.
Yeah. So letting everybody know that we're online. We're about to start in a second here. That's the problem with these freaking live shows, man.
Now I understand what everybody goes through when they're cutting to people in the field. And back to you, Marv.
You know what's fucked up? I need to stop being on Twitter when I'm doing this because I always see some. Look at this shit right here. Nice.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. Well, fuck it. Let's get started.
Let's start the show.
All right. Welcome to the ULI Special Edition NBA Free Agency. For all you basketball fans, we are, well, I mean, it's self-explanatory at this point, that we'll be talking about NBA Free Agency. So what we decided to do is we're going to go off the top 15 free agents, including 5 honorable mentions.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about where they might go, what they should do, what we think they should do, and then we'll talk about like a couple of them or 2 or 3 of them that we hope go to our teams. For me, the Suns. For H,
it's the Knicks.
Knicks. So with you today, it's me, Eddie Law, to my right.
HDot everything.
You'll see my ugly mug the whole time. Sorry. I mean, I would turn it off, but the picture that comes in this place is not so appealing. So, yeah. I'm just going to do this shit now. Anyway, all right. So let's start off with honorable mentions. My honorable mentions and where I think they're going to go. Small forward Shawn Marion. It's a guy that can guard positions 1 through 5. He could do... His athleticism has gone down. He's already won a title with the Mavericks, so, you know. It's not like he's like chasing a ring anymore. But his athleticism is going down. You're not gonna rely on him to score at all. He's never been relied on to score. You never run plays for Shawn Marion. You know, that he's a cleanup guy. He gets rebounds and putbacks, and that's it.
He has the most god-awful looking 3, too.
The worst shot on the planet. Him and Landry. Not Landry. Hayes. Remember Hayes for Houston? He used to have that one free throw. He would pull up, stop, and then let it go.
Oh,
he would fake out everybody. Remember him?
I don't remember him, but you know who does have the worst free throw ever is Joakim Noah. Ugliest shot of all time.
That's the ugliest motherfucker. He's uglier than me, okay? I think I won a beauty contest between that motherfucker. All right? And that's saying a lot for me because, you know, well, you fuckers are looking at me right now. So, anyway. So I think Shawn Marion stays with the Mavs. He really has no reason to go anywhere unless they're going to overpay him somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's say, like, if he had to be a contender, we're talking, like, the Rockets. And he had to take shitty money, like crap money. The Rockets, even the Heat. He'd go back to Phoenix.
But I think, you know, Mark Cuban has his favorites. You can tell because of the trade he just pulled with the Knicks. You know, he wanted his boy Chandler back. He got him back.
And he paid a price for it.
And he paid a price for it. Just like, you know, I don't feel like Nowitzki's going anywhere. Same thing with Marion. I think that's part of the core that he wants to keep.
So we'll switch back and forth. Yeah. So I do an honorable mention, you do one. So who's your best honorable mention?
You know, I'm going to have to say probably the most exciting of my honorable mentions probably would be Nick Young, Swaggy P. You know, I think he has, you know, a very JR-esque type of athleticism to him. Yeah, I think he can knock down shots in the moment. I think he can also, he's not scared to take the shot, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I think he, you know, the one thing about him, he's an entertainer, and I think you kind of need that on some of these teams. He's not by any means a bad entertainer, but, you know, you have to kind of mature a little bit. This way your team can win.
Right.
I think he has to learn how to balance that. You know, J.R. Smith kind of, even though he's one of my favorite players, still has that kind of degrading factor to him where he's not really helping with some of those antics that he pulls.
Not.
If you're up 20, 30 points, shit, untie everybody's fucking shoe. But until you're, solidly winning this game, stay in the game.
Definitely.
But, I can see him possibly staying with the Lakers, maybe for a little bit less money, but he's probably going to want more. I can see a small market team also wanting to cash in on that just to, bring fans to the games. Honestly, it sounds weird, but I can see Minnesota possibly being a decent place for him to go just because they may overpay him. And then also, that's going to be exciting for the fans. And I think they need something to kind of like bring them there, if Kevin Love is going to leave.
Right. And I think so. I think if he drops Minnesota, if he's going to drop anywhere but LA, even LA might overpay him a little bit.
Right.
But if he goes anywhere but LA, it's going to be, someone that overpays him. And it's not going to be worth it. He's going to end up being a bad contract unless he, becomes coachable. Because he's not coachable right now.
Right. Or even, think about Milwaukee when they had Monte Ellis.
Yeah.
He's kind of an exciting guy, too.
He had the uncoachable knock, too, on him, too. And he ended up being coachable in Dallas. So.
Right. So I think, sometimes moving teams might bring a little bit of maturity, but you can still bring that entertainment factor, too.
Right. So Nick Young averaged 22.8 points a game. That's his best stat, really. On 54% shooting, but this is per 36 minutes, and he didn't average 36 minutes. So,
right.
But for 36 minutes, he gives you 22, almost 23.
You also had to think he had to fill Kobe's shoes.
Yeah, and that's impossible to do.
It's impossible to do, but you have to do it in somewhere that he did it with the points.
Right. So yeah. So another one of my honorable mentions, Darren Collison. He's a backup point guard for the Clippers right now. If you remember a couple years ago, Dallas signed him, traded for him. So I think they signed him straight out to be their starter because they felt that he had learned enough under Chris Paul to lead a team. Clearly, he showed he couldn't. Yeah. Because they let him go pretty quick. But now he's backing up Chris Paul. Like he did with in the New Orleans days. And he averages about 16 points a game and gives you 5 solid assists per 36 minutes, right? So I think he stays in with the Clippers. They find a way to re-sign him because Chris Paul goes down with an injury and he does a solid job of keeping them together.
Exactly. The only place I think I could probably see him going, if anywhere, possibly the Heat, depending on what Chalmers does.
Chalmers, or even that. There's a rumor Kyle Lowry is trying to make his way to the Heat, but who knows?
That's all possible because I'm trying to think of any place that needs a real starting point guard at this point, and I can't really think of one.
There's so many point guards in the NBA that can play now. It's crazy. Phoenix has 2.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of the 2-point guard sets are becoming very popular.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think they would want to keep that with the Clippers because Chris Paul already has a rapport with them.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Another person that I probably have on the list here, no big shocker, Patty Mills.
Patty Mills, definitely.
I think he gets hidden a little bit under
Parker.
Yeah. But I also think he has a lot of ability to show. I think he picks and chooses his moments. Once he gets his playing time, he's going to show it. And I think he definitely showed up in that third quarter. Mm-hmm. In that very last game. I think he would be a good addition to certain places that would need either a backup point guard or possibly a starting point guard.
My thing with Patty is that he plays big when it's contract year, right? And he falls off most of it. Like this year, he showed up he was in shape. You saw him during the finals. He was in shape. Years before that, he couldn't do it. He was never in shape.
Yeah, I seen a picture of him when he was with the Trailblazers. He looked a little hefty there.
A little chubby. So now he's in shape. He burned that fat off. And another guy that they did that with was Boris Diaw. I remember Boris Diaw showed up to Suns camps constantly overweight by a lot. Yeah. And it would be a long time before he can get in shape. So
he still looks like he has a keg in him, but
yeah,
he still plays though.
Where do you think he ends up going?
Boris Diaw?
No, sorry, Patty Mills.
Oh, Patty Mills?
Yeah.
If they don't sign him for maybe $1 million or $2 million more, honestly, I can see possibly the Knicks wanted him, but I think that they're already logjammed at that position.
Yeah, they got crazy.
It's really hard one. I think a lot of teams that are looking to possibly rebuild can definitely use him.
Yeah. I think he stays at backup with the Spurs.
I think he probably does stay back with the Spurs. Honestly, he does have a lot of personality from what I read. And, a big market would suit him, but I can't think of a big market that needs him right now.
You know what? You know what I think though is he's gonna stay in San Antonio because the system made him good. He could almost fool somebody into a big contract and someone like a Milwaukee or Indiana who has George Hill, can't do shit. Point guard.
That's true. See, I think that would work out really well for him.
Yeah, so he can. But the problem, like again, the red flag with him is the system. The Spurs system is a really good plug and play system. You can put almost whoever you want in there, almost whoever you want. It takes a certain amount of a certain skill set to be able to run it. But I mean, yeah, I mean, if he goes back to the Spurs, they have they have one more shot at the title in them, I think.
Right.
Before Duncan goes, grabs his ball and goes home. But yeah.
Now I wonder about Atlanta. Maybe that might possibly be.
Yeah, they just traded. They just traded Lou Williams away. They're starting.
Right. And they definitely have Jeff Teague.
Right.
That might be a nice strong addition for Jeff Teague too.
Yeah, Jeff Teague. Yeah, and Jeff Teague's a strong one. So yeah. Anyway, another honorable mention for me is Patrick Patterson. Not a lot of people know about him. He came in with the Rockets, and I forgot who he ended up with. Who he ended up with? Crap. I know.
Shit, I'm drawing a blank
on
Patrick Patterson.
He ended up with, I think, the Raptors. I want to say the Raptors. Yeah. Anyway, but the thing with him is he's a 13-8 player. Every 30, for 36 minutes, he gives you 13-8, including three-point shooting. His three-point shooting is exceptional for a big man. Like when I first saw him, I didn't think he could shoot threes, and he started knocking them down. So, oh man, a good team for him to go would be the Suns, because he can actually rebound. That is a knock on Fry, because Fry can't rebound worth shit.
He can't do that shit.
He can't rebound worth a damn, and if we can get Patrick Patterson, who can shoot threes in the Suns system, who is about shooting threes, and he can rebound, that he would make a huge impact on the game for us.
How's the defense?
His defense, let's see. Well, he's a big guy. He could, he isn't afraid to be physical in the paint. I think he could hold his own. He might even be an improvement. He would be an improvement over Fry. He might even be an improvement over Markieff. Keith's not that strong.
Yeah, no, definitely. For you guys, that would be great.
Yeah.
But can he play the speed though? That's the big question. Because West Coast is a lot about speed. Brother. East Coast seems to be a lot about power. Mm-hmm. I could see him possibly going to either like the Celtics, a team like the Knicks too. But the Knicks have 2 contracts they can't possibly fucking move.
Yeah. So. They're in a hard,
and they probably can't pay him. So
yeah, they're in a tough spot right now. So.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, who you got next?
Oh shit, let's see here. I'm gonna go with PJ Tucker.
One of mine too. Yeah.
Definitely. I don't watch a lot of Suns games. I do enjoy watching them. And he's honestly one of my favorite players, and not just because he punched Blake Griffin in the mouth.
I think everyone would love the fact that he punched Blake Griffin in the mouth.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I wanted to make T-shirts, but
just Blake's face.
He's very scrappy. He's a solid defender. He puts it all on the floor when he's there, and that's what I love about him. I think a lot of teams would really enjoy that type of role player. Yeah. Be able to clean up the boards for you. Get that ball out and transition to the point guard and just run it down. Now it's all about. I know he's a little bit up there in age, but I still think he's holding up. I can see him going to teams that are more defensively sound or needing that defense on the wing. Yeah,
I mean he averages 11 and 7 per 36 minutes, and he actually averaged maybe like 30 in Phoenix. So
yeah. So I mean. I would hope that he would go to a team with like too many problems with offense. That you have Trailblazers, not a very defensive team.
Yeah, they're not a defensive team. He could help both ends.
He could help on both ends. I can see him. It would be a very easy probably transition to go over to the Rockets. Rockets also need a lot of defense,
especially if Parsons goes away.
Yeah, especially if Parsons goes. Parsons' defense isn't terrible, but
like what I could see happening there is if they let Parsons go, they sign a Melo. Or long shot LeBron. Let's say they sign a Melo. You bring in PJ Tucker, you play Melo at the 4, and you have a 3 that can stop people and shoot threes and can guard the 4 if he has to. So I mean, he'd be a great signing for Houston. I think he goes back to Phoenix. I hope he goes back to Phoenix.
I think he stays in Phoenix too.
I think he's happy here.
The only other place I could think of that he probably would fit the scheme, and it might be an improvement for them too, might be Indiana. They stockpile players for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they only showed up against Miami the entire year. They only showed up against Miami. So and they stopped Miami pretty well.
Right.
So yeah. In fact, I'm kind of surprised that they weren't able to beat Miami in the playoffs.
They imploded as soon as the playoffs came. They imploded.
And it was just I think they peaked so early that Hibbert just flattened out in the playoffs, and that Hibbert. as Hibbert goes defensively, that team goes, and he wasn't doing anything.
And I just think you had too many factors. Lance Stevenson being a jackass.
Yeah, that was bad. I heard that. I read somewhere that they don't like him. The players don't like him. So
Paul George was just, he just didn't seem like he was all there all the time.
He's not a leader, man. I think as soon as they traded Granger, that shit was over. Granger was the heart and soul of that team. They traded him away. It was like a funeral for those guys.
I think you're right. There's no leader. I think it should be Roy Hibbert, but if you can't step up, you can't really lead.
Right. I agree. Yeah. For me, another one for me, and then we'll after this one we'll get right into actually no, we'll get one more after this one, and then we'll get into the top 15. Jordan Hill, out of Arizona, spent the last season with the Lakers.
Wow, that's deep.
Well, I'll tell you why. Okay, let me tell you why. So, but he spent last season with the Lakers, and he was drafted by Houston, I believe.
He was drafted. No, he was drafted by the Knicks.
Right, he went Knicks. He went to Houston. Then he went to the Lakers, where he did really well. I mean, he was 16-12.
He's successful there.
16-12 with the Lakers, mind you, a garbage team. Where he was getting his plays. He had a couple plays run for him, but for the most part, he's a garbage guy who gets you offensive boards.
Right.
If he can he's not a good defender, by the way, not individual. He can help on zone Ds and double teams and stuff, but he's not going to give you solid defense as a starter. So. You could do worse than having Hill at the center.
That's true.
I still kind of hold out hope that he comes here to Phoenix, but I kind of want all my Arizona guys to come here because I'm a U of A guy. That's where I graduated from, and I grew. I watched that guy. I watched Hill, over at McHale Center in Tucson a bunch of times. So I'm a big fan. But as a fan, I want him in Phoenix. But as realistically. I could almost see the Knicks getting him back.
Yeah, and that's the talk too. Is that they were kind of looking for that. I mean, we're shooting for Paul, but
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
We're gonna probably end up with Hill. Let's be honest.
You get Jordan Hill. You basically just live out or buy out Bargnani. You have to live out Amari.
Right.
That's too big of a contract. He's gonna have to wait till it goes off the books, or trade him to somebody that wants cap space next year. I think this is a contract year for him, right? It's next season.
Yeah. Bargnani should come off. Bargnani and him should come off this year. After this year. So.
Well, then I would trade him to someone that wants cap space.
Well, that's the whole thing we were discussing before. As unrealistic as it sounds, if you could package those two guys to a team where they just want to get rid of a large contract. That's when we can get rid of them, but then we're kind of stuck with that large contract as well.
That'd be hard. Yeah, it's tricky, but I think Phil can pull something off. But I think Jordan Hill ends up with the Knicks. So I hope he ends up with Phoenix, but I think Knicks or he stays in LA.
The thing is, I worry about him as a rim protector, and that's what I would really want for the Knicks.
You guys need a blocker.
We need a blocker. We have some stupid guy overseas.
Yeah,
he's supposedly good at blocking shots, but
he's not going to come in. He's not going to come in for another 2 years.
He's not coming in for a while, and he's slow. Let's be honest, he has to work on that speed, that NBA speed.
By the way, the line of the draft was he's 2 years from being 2 years away. When they were talking about Toronto's, I forgot, he was pretty high. The fact that he got drafted was high enough, but that he got drafted in the first round was insane.
Right before
the kid from Brazil, I forgot his name. He's like 19-year-old.
Yeah.
He's got the physical. He just doesn't have the skills at all.
He's just really raw.
Yeah. But I remember the analyst was like, he's 2 years away from being 2 years away. I'm like, that's holy shit.
That was the worst line, and they just kept repeating it. So because
it was a great line, dude.
It was a great line, but to have that over your head when you're just trying to get in this, oh man, that's horrible. It's horrible to start.
Let's do one more of your honorable mentions, and we'll get into the 15.
All right, we'll do one more here. This is kind of hard for me. I'm gonna stick with Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
I think it's classically sound there. He's coming out of Brooklyn. With as long as it took the veterans to catch up to speed last year, about halfway through the season, and then with Kidd being gone, we don't really know who the coach is going to be.
Oh yeah, if you guys don't know yet, Jason Kidd forced his way out like a dumbass. Like basically, what happened was that he asked the Brooklyn ownership for the president job on top of his coaching job, and that would overtake the GM job basically.
Right.
He would basically be above Billy King. By the way, Billy King sucks ass. If you didn't see him when he was a GM of the Sixers, he screwed that team up so bad they're still hurting from it. All right. So the fact that the Nets have him is insanity. So I even think Kidd would be an improvement over King as far as choosing players. As far as the money goes, get yourself in a what do they call them when they like They don't have the job, but they can give you advice about it.
Consultant?
A consultant. Get yourself a consultant that can crunch numbers, and that's it. But I honestly would trust Kidd over Billy King to build a team.
I just think he saw a lot of things happen.
Yeah.
You know, he sees Stan Van Gundy get pretty much the same thing he wanted.
I mean, he got a garbage contract, dude. Kidd got a garbage compared to Kerr, compared to Van Gundy's got experience, but compared to Kerr and who's the other, Mark Jackson, compared to those guys, he got a garbage contract.
But I don't feel like it's that garbage. I think that just Steve Kerr got a really great contract because we don't know what he's going to pay.
You know what? I think they're gonna look back at that contract and be like, what the hell were we thinking?
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, he has a good team in his hands, so let's see what he can do.
They handed him the keys to, I want to say a Porsche. They handed him the keys to like the best Mustang you can get.
I was just thinking Mustang too.
The best Mustang you can get that could blow the engine any second, and he has to hold it together. That's kind of what he got. So, sorry, go back to the Paul Pierce.
Oh, I'm going to Paul Pierce. It's a classic type of player. I think he still has a lot. I think he still has some to offer, definitely, and definitely leadership.
He's got and that's what's valuable about him, the veteran leadership that he's led a franchise for over 10 years.
Right.
And then he went somewhere else, and then he led that franchise to the playoffs. Him and KG together. Yeah.
But I still think, him in comparison to KG, I think KG is just talks too big.
The thing about KG, as far as KG and Paul Pierce together, I would take KG being the leader Paul Pierce being the leader and KG being the muscle. If I'm the leader and I have the muscle behind me, I'm like, hey man, do what I say or this guy's gonna kick your ass. Like that kind of guy.
Pretty much, he's Q-tip. KG, you shut the fuck up. You be fight dog. That's the way it is. You're my hype man. You just do that shit. Yeah. That's it. That's what you do.
Yeah, you just talk as loud as you can. Yeah.
I still think he has a lot to offer.
Where does he go
for the next 2 years? I would want to see him back with Doc. Honestly, I think that would be a great move for him. I could see him with the Clippers.
They would be ecstatic if they got him.
I mean, think about this because he's actually from the California area.
Oh, he'd love to go home.
Yeah, he'd love to go home.
That was the talk before. I think the NBA blocked that move. They said, okay, you can get Doc Rivers, but you can't get Paul or KG.
Right.
And LA made their choice.
And I think that teams would still value that. And I also think what you said might hold up true. He might go back to Boston.
And that's my thing. I think he goes back to Boston. He finishes off his career where it began, and he goes out the hero that he is for that franchise.
I wonder if the Lakers would spend on him though.
Not as much as that people would think. They would spend on him. They give him like $6 million, $7 million. That's overpaying for him, by the way. $6-7 million for 5 to 6. That's good for Paul Pierce where he's at right now.
Right.
6 to 7 or higher is way too much.
Now I also wonder if you want to go small market, what about Memphis?
Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think once he got traded to the Nets, Paul realized I'm never gonna win another ring, and I should just be happy where I'm at. So I think now he's just gonna go for the storybook ending for his career. That's what I think, and I kind of hope.
Well, I want to see him two places, honestly. Mm-hmm. Celtics, Clippers.
I'd be sick if he goes to the Clippers, though, because they have a chance to be something special, especially if they're not able. Because, again, the rumors are out there. LeBron James to the Clippers. A lot of pieces would have to be moved, but it's possible. But they're not going to make any big – I don't think they're going to make any big moves in the free agency this year. Right. So getting him would be – they would just be happy. They'd be super happy because Chris Paul doesn't have to make all the plays anymore. Paul Pierce can still make his own shot.
Right.
Yeah, and he can still make plays for others. So
the depth on that team is crazy. How they keep not being able to get to the finals is insane to me.
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that Chris Paul is their offense. Like he makes every play.
Yeah.
So if they can get Paul, that'd be great.
Right. They're better than Oakland. They're better than OKC to me. They're better than OKC.
Yeah, I think so too. I think OKC has the advantage of having Kevin Durant, but at the same time having both Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and both trying to be the man. Yeah. It's not helping them. In fact, I think OKC ends up trading Westbrook at some point in the next couple of years for a Chris Paul.
That's barring that Durant doesn't leave next year with free agency because he's up for a free agency. I think next year.
Get out of here, really?
I think it's next year. Yeah.
It's either next year or the year after. It's one of the.
It's one of those years coming up. It's one of these years coming up.
Whenever he goes, I think he goes to free agency. And look, this is just me being an asshole because I can't stand the Thunder because they took the Sonics team. I think the Seattle Sonics should still be a thing. I hope they get a team. Please bring a team back to Seattle. I still have that's one of my I think I told you about my what do they call it? My bucket list
Bucket
for
list.
basketball is I want to go see a game at the Garden in Madison Square Garden, New York. I want to go see a game at Boston. I want to go see a game in Chicago, and I have a bunch of other ones. But another one was I want to go see a Key Arena because the way that stadium set up is very personal. You're like on top of the freaking players almost.
Wow.
So I hope to get a team, and I hope to go to Key Arena for at least one season, and it's just so I can make the drive up there or the flight up there just to go see it. That'd be fucking awesome to me.
Yeah, that and the city itself is awesome. They deserve a basketball team, honestly.
They do. They that was just a really, really messed up thing they did to them. So.
One of those two things got either the Clippers got to go up there, or or Sacramento has to go up there.
I can see Sacramento losing their team. I really could in the next 2-3 years. So.
I think it has to happen because honestly, there's too much lineage with the Lakers. They're not going to go.
There's too many teams in California. It's just too many. There's 4 of them.
Clippers, as good as a team they are, they just don't have that same history that the Lakers do. Move their asses up there.
I could see, and I honestly thought there was a chance that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Once the because I think a Seattle guy bought him. Steve Ballmer or whatever.
Steve Ballmer.
He's a Microsoft. I think he's a Microsoft guy.
Yeah, he was ex-Microsoft.
Ex-Microsoft guy. Seattle guy.
Seattle guy.
I think he lets him play another year there, maybe 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then he starts going, okay, let's get the fuck out of here. Like, let's go to Seattle, which I hope they do, and I hope they get they and he has the money to build his own stadium, I think, or arena. I think.
He could just put up $2 billion like that. I think he has the money.
Yeah. What did he drop on it? $2 billion.
$2 billion.
He has like 20.
But I don't think any of this is guaranteed yet. It's still going through things, but that's his offer.
The courts will figure it out, and I think in the next year or two, and that's why we haven't heard anything yet. I think if it was done already, we would have heard from this guy saying, "Yeah, we're going to Seattle." So,
exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So let's get into the top 15, and these are 15 that we agree on here. So,
bitch.
Yeah. So number 15, Pau Gasol, power forward that has been playing for the Lakers since 2008. For those that have been watching NBA long enough, you remember that the Lakers got away with like robbery, grand theft, player. I don't know. They traded Kwame Brown's just whack ass to Memphis for Pau Gasol, literally straight up.
Yeah.
I think they added cash and like a couple picks that ended up being nothing. I think. I don't quote me on that because I don't remember 100%. But Pau Gasol got him 2 titles. So 2 titles.
Yeah,
2 titles. So Pau Gasol, Kobe Bryant got him 2 titles. He averaged 19 and 11 last season.
He was out a lot of that season too.
He was hurt, but I mean, again, he was hurt. But even though season before when Kobe was still playing through pain, he was playing through pain. So he was probably like, look, fuck it, we're not gonna win anything this year. Kobe's out. We're not winning anything. I'm gonna take care of myself, and I completely agree with what he did because it extends his career.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Gasol has a solid, good 3 years left. Good ones.
I would say so.
We're talking 15 and 10 at least. And then after he starts dropping off, I think he would be an awesome fit for Chicago.
You think Chicago?
I think he'd be great in Chicago. He can actually score in the post to where Boozer can't do it. Taj Gibson's never been an offensive player where you can run plays for him.
That's true.
Because Pau Gasol not only can run plays for him in the post, he's a great out of the post passer. I mean, he averaged like 4 assists last season, but I think he used to average like 5 or 6 out of the post, especially in the triangle. But I think with the Bulls, with Thibodeau, and what he does offensively, he's gonna want to take that pressure off D Rose, and I think Pau Gasol's the man to do it if they don't get Melo, obviously.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that, now that you mentioned, that would be a great fit for him. I know the Knicks are vying for him. A lot of teams are vying for this guy. Want him. I think Warriors would be another great fit for him because they're just lacking a center that can stay healthy. And, I think as an inexperienced team as they have, he would offer a lot of veteran leadership there. Yeah. He would be able to hold that role down solid. And, when Curry or Clay kick it to him, he's going to draw that pressure inside, kicks it right back out, and you got the Splash Brothers.
Yeah, have fun dealing with that 3-point barrage.
Yeah.
And again, we still, I mean, the rumors with Kevin Love in Minnesota have been dead for a minute now, supposedly. You never know. So if they don't get Kevin Love in Golden State, Pau Gasol's a good spot.
I was hearing, he might possibly want to play with his brother too in Memphis, so.
I would love to see that just because I'm a sucker for seeing like brothers play together and see what they could do together. And I mean, again, he'd be going back to the team that made him an all-star.
Right, and that's the weird thing is that Marc Gasol is having success with them, and he's
probably getting
not
laid
so
a lot.
much.
He's probably getting laid a lot in Memphis too.
Probably a little bit of that.
Never been in Memphis, but I heard they got a lot of girls with ass. So you can't hate on Marc Gasol.
That shit and good music and barbecue, you can't beat that shit.
Good music, barbecue, and booty. You can't hate on that. So,
One
one more thing on Pau Gasol. I heard also that because the Suns wanted to trade for him this season.
Oh, did
I think they were offering like a Mecca Okafor and I think somebody else and a pick or two, or no, like a pick, because he's also making $19 million this year. So it'd be a huge number. It'd be because Emeka makes about 14 point something or other.
Damn.
And Pau Gasol's almost 20. That'd be big cap space, especially with the bullshit that they're coming out with right now that they want to go after LeBron and Melo, max contracts, both of them at the same time.
Right, that's crazy.
It's a little crazy. We'll talk about that in a minute. Number 14, the guard out of, I don't know where he went to college, but the Indiana guard. Well, sorry, Wolf. That's what happens when you go to the gym. You start burping out
shit.
Protein shit. Anyway, Lance Stevenson.
Lance Stevenson
averaged 14.7 rebounds and 5 assists per 36 minutes.
Damn.
That's a do-it-all guard, and he's 6'5".
I like Lance Stevenson a lot.
I just wish he wasn't such a douchebag.
I just wish he didn't play for Indiana.
That too.
He's gonna stay there because they're gonna pay him, and he's gonna take that money.
Yep.
And you know what? I think he's gonna come back the same Lance Stevenson that he's been. I think it's going to take him a while to really learn that you're going to have to fall in line because they don't have a leader there. They don't have a leader on that team.
Yeah, and he needs to mature because he was talking shit last season on everybody. He was like blowing in LeBron's ear and shit, and like pulling shorts or whatever. Those kind of antics don't belong on a championship team. I don't think.
I think it doesn't. You can have, like I said, you can have fun, but win the fucking game. Yeah. Make sure you're going to win this game first. That's first and foremost. All that fun shit is afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if Stevenson doesn't go back to the Pacers, I think teams that miss out on LeBron and miss out on Melo are gonna be like, hey, we got big money, man. You wanna come over here and play? Let's go.
I honestly think about this though. I'd almost put him ahead of Melo just because he will play defense. He can guard those positions. He's willing to get physical. He's younger.
He was willing to guard LeBron at a point.
Yeah, yeah, and he's younger. So, I mean, he's almost like a Kawhi Leonard, like a couple years in the future.
Yeah.
But just less mature.
Way less mature. I mean, and these days that matters. If you notice in the draft, a lot of those kids that got drafted aren't from the ghetto. They're not coming from single parent homes. They're coming from well-to-do families with 2 parents. Like, they're starting to realize character means a lot.
It does.
So you're gonna start seeing less kids. Like it used to be. What was it? Like growing up in the ghetto, they used to tell you either rap or you play ball or sport of some kind. Right. That's how you get out. That's starting to change to where you act like shit. We're not bringing you in. It's too many. Who shot themselves in the leg with the Giants?
Plaxico Burress.
Plaxico Burress shot himself in the leg. These 2 fucking ghetto to fucking act right.
Yeah, you got the Pouncey brothers.
Morons. Ridiculous. Stupid.
Good players, but stupid.
Yeah. Daryl Washington beating the crap out of his girlfriend in freaking Phoenix. Either way, character means a lot. And that's just the NFL. In the NBA, there's plenty of other shit that happens. I mean, Meta World Peace is losing his mind every day. Steven Jackson, who's won a title before, losing his mind. Ben Wallace losing his mind. Like, all these guys are just crazy.
Stephon Marbury
eating Vaseline. Yeah, he ate Vaseline on the internet.
He started crying and shit.
That was so weird.
And one of my favorite players is this dumbass.
I never liked him. Even when I first got here and he was a point guard for the Suns, I was like, dude, trade this guy. He's selfish as hell. I'll give you this. He was a great passer, but he's still selfish most of the time.
Yeah, killer crossover too.
Yeah. So I got Stevenson going back to the Pacers. I think he's just too valuable for them.
There's no way they're gonna let him go.
I just wonder how much they're gonna pay him.
Right. I mean, this guy's got to work on his maturity. I think Larry Bird says he's really gonna, kind of stay by his side this time and not let him free. Well, he's gonna definitely put him. Yeah, he's gonna put him through some shit. Because
I think if they get in a fight, I think Stevenson fucks up Larry Bird. To be honest, like Larry Bird comes from Indiana.
Yeah, he's a tough bastard, but still, he's old.
Yeah. So he's old. Although he would take that fight.
Yeah, he would.
He'll be like, let's go. Bitch.
He's that old dude. He will take the fight.
Yeah. Him and Kevin McHale was that much of a dick too.
Yeah, so I think so.
Even Kevin McHale could barely walk would do it. Up next, number 13, Marcin Gortat, who spent last season with the Wizards after being traded from Phoenix to the Wizards for Emeka Okafor's expiring contract and
bad move.
Who else came out with him? I forgot. So we got someone else that we actually enjoyed having. So, but 14-10. He's not gonna give you. He's not gonna be like, oh, I'm a dominant center.
No.
He's gonna give you that underrated, under the what do they call it? Like, he's not going to get a lot of attention, but he's going to give you solid numbers.
I think so. I really like Marcin Gortat. He moves well for a big guy, for a center. I think he can pass too.
Oh, he can pass, but the thing I like about him is that he can run the pick and roll like nobody else.
Right.
When he was doing it here with Steve Nash, he was killing it. Last year, the season before, no, he got traded last year. Last year when he was trying to run it with Dragic, Dragic is not the Steve Nash passer. He's a decent passer. He's not the Steve Nash passer. Right. So his numbers, suffered until we traded him during the offseason. Anyway, he didn't play with us last year. The year before, Dragic is not the Steve Nash passer, so he's not gonna, Gortat's not gonna, be like, pass me the ball, I'm gonna post up and give you, 20 points a game. He's not. Right. But with a point guard like John Wall, he gives you solid 14 and 10. He was really good with the Wizards. I think if he improves a little more and John Wall keeps improving and Bradley Beal improves, I think they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, I thought they were a scary team last year.
They were, because they were like a dark horse team. Like, you didn't expect much out of them. They beat Chicago. Yeah. I thought they were honestly going to give the Pacers a better run for their money.
Yeah. I think everyone was scared to see the Wizards in the first round, so I think Washington realizes they have a good thing going, so I think they keep them.
I think they keep them too.
Just give him a good $8-9 million a year, and just keep him there for like 3-4 years.
I mean, I wish we had enough to pay him for the Knicks, because I would like to see him there.
Basically, you guys can use anybody right now.
Well, no, we need centers. We need power forwards and centers. We have everything else. That's what we need.
You need big men that can score, that can stay healthy.
Right, and if they're gonna run the triangle, I think he's a good enough passer to do that.
Oh, he'd be great.
He'll be great for that. I also think Houston might be able to use his services since they had to get rid of Asik.
That's a backup, but I don't think he wants to back up Dwight anymore. That's the reason we got him from the Magic. Yeah. He didn't want to back up Dwight anymore.
That's true.
So plus Dwight doesn't want to see him in the playoffs either. If he goes to the West, Dwight doesn't want to see him. If it's like somewhere else, I don't know where he would go, but if he goes to the West, Dwight doesn't want to see him because he knows how to defend Dwight and at least slow him down. So anyway, number 12, the little 5'11" or 5'10" point guard from the Kings, Isaiah Thomas. Not Isaiah Thomas. You know what I'm talking
about. I had to really just look at that again when I saw.
Here's the thing about him. He's a short point guard that's so explosive. He gives you 21 points a game and 7 assists.
Yeah.
21 and 7. Those are almost star numbers. Those are star numbers.
Yeah.
He's just not recognized to be a star because it's such a small market. Here's the thing: is his height is still going to be the thing.
Height and weight.
Height and weight, because he can get the guys can push him around. Defensively, he's not great. He's just not great defensively. I don't think.
I mean, I think it's hard for him to be. I think he can be pesky. Yep. He can go for the steal. He can get in you, but honestly, he can't overpower you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a size, and he's a fearless guy. That's what I like about him. Yeah. He'll go into the lane and challenge those shot blockers. He'll get swatted, but he'll still challenge him. He'll be like, all right, fuck it, let's go. It's me against you now. So he has a little man complex that big chip on his shoulder. But I think, man, I can't think of anywhere he would go. I think he just stays put in the Kings.
I think they're gonna pay him too.
And they're going to pay him. He's a restricted free agent, so no matter where he signs, they're going to match it. They should match it. So, anyway, so I think he goes back to the Kings. Number 11, Luol Deng, a guy that got traded from Chicago to the Cavs in the most depressing trade I've ever seen in my life.
For picks
that turned out to be the 16th and the
19th
that they traded for. They ended up getting Doug McDermott
from Denver.
Yeah, he got drafted by Denver, and they traded him. I thought Denver was going to keep him. But, man.
That was Denver's number 11, which actually was the Knicks' number 11.
Yeah, they got the Melo trade.
For the Melo trade.
Yeah, so again, the Melo trade's still messing with the Knicks. But Luol Deng got traded over there in some time with Chicago and the time with Cleveland. He ended up averaging 16 and 6. He couldn't change the Cavs losing ways. He just couldn't. No. There was no way. No one can. I don't think anybody but LeBron could do that.
He just had to ride out that year, honestly.
He rode it out, and I think Cleveland messed up giving up those picks for him.
For sure they did.
Because they're not going to get anything back. They didn't win anything.
Right. I mean, if you have a chance to possibly add some new team members, you're pretty much getting to start with a clean slate. Yep. And you don't have a coach. Mm-hmm. So you get to build that. You don't have pieces coming from other places.
Yeah.
That you have to, get them in line with it. You have these new players. They're going to go in line with it. They'll go as you lead them.
Yeah. I think teams that have the cap space will give him $10 million. I don't think it's hard for me to say if I'm a contender, I'm not paying him $10 million.
No.
I'm gonna tell him like, look, man, you take 6 or 7, you have a good shot at a title here. So
if that's the case, Heat.
he, because that'd be insane. That'd be insane if they got him. But Heat
Indiana,
or return to Chicago.
Indiana, return to Chicago.
Especially if they don't get Melo back.
Whoever buys people, they're gonna choose him.
Yeah, and he's got to figure out: do I want to get paid or do I want a title?
Right.
And I think he's gonna want to get paid.
We're not mentioning a lot of teams out there like Philadelphia or New Orleans, or even Charlotte. We're not mentioning these teams, but
it's only because they have no chance of winning right now.
I just think that they really don't. I just think that they're better off building within the draft.
And honestly, the way that the Spurs have been winning titles, that's gonna be the new fad, I guess. Is building through the draft and just taking your time and drafting and keeping guys and building them up.
Right.
And the Spurs are experts at that.
Right. I just think that they're very low chances for things because the guy has to want to go there. They're going to go there if they want to get paid. They're not going to go there because they're going to win a championship anytime soon. I mean, shit, Bobcats were lucky they got into the playoffs last year. They
would overpay.
At 7.
I think 7. Yeah, I think they could overpay. They could overpay Dang. The Bobcats could overpay Dang. The Pelicans could overpay Dang.
Definitely.
The Bobcats, the Hornets. Sorry, the Hornets. Everyone changes their fucking names. The Pacers would be able to use them, but they're not gonna overpay him. They don't have enough cap space to overpay him. But
now I'm wondering. Also, you have OKC.
OKC could use him. Yeah, they could. If they got Caron Butler, I don't know how long they have him for, but I think Caron Butler is along the lines with Luol Deng, just for the fact that it evens out with the fact that Luol Deng gets hurt.
That's true, and then so does Caron Butler though.
And Caron Butler gets hurt, but he's also older, so you don't pay him that much. Anyway, so I think he goes back. I think he goes back to Chicago because Melo doesn't go to Chicago. Luol Deng goes to Chicago.
I think they'll have a lot of room to make some moves there, definitely.
Yeah, if Melo does go to Chicago, I could see the Knicks overpaying him. Well, they don't have cap space.
They don't have anything. We have $4 million.
I'll say Lakers on the outside chance.
Right.
Yeah. So. The Rockets. He gave him 16-5 and 4. I think it's a no-brainer. They match it. There's no way they don't match it.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I think that's also contingent upon the Melo issue too, because I don't think LeBron James would ever think about going to Houston. Yeah,
I don't think LeBron James is going to go to Houston. I think Melo has a better shot at going to Houston, but even then, I don't think he's going to do it.
Yeah,
I think it's just too. I just don't think he wants to go back to the West. The way, as hard as it is to win in the West and get in the playoffs in the West, I don't think he wants that. I think he'd rather go to the East and just deal with the West when they get to the finals. So Parsons back to the Houston. Number 9, Gordon Hayward. And this is one that interests me because the Suns are trying to get him, and I see why. He averaged 16, 5, and 5 rebounds, 5 assists last season per 36 minutes. Now, he had better numbers the year before because they had Al Jefferson.
Right.
And his numbers only fell down a little bit without Al Jefferson, with Derek Favors in there now. So the Suns are making a strong push for him, especially if this whole LeBron and Melo thing doesn't work out, which it won't.
Right.
But they'll sign him to like a good $12 million contract per year contract. But I think Utah's gonna match. I think he ends up back with the Jazz because they need him.
I think so too. I also think Warriors make a play for him.
He'd be great with the Warriors. If they need to trade Iggy though. They had to trade Iggy away. I think they can't have both. I mean, they can't have both, but I don't think they would.
I think it's going to be an issue where you kind of take a cut if you want to make that push.
Well, they take a cut, but I think Utah would have to not match it too.
Yeah, and
so
I think
he'd have to go to Utah and be like, "Look,
issue.
I don't want to be here." The way Joe Johnson did it with the Suns years ago, he was like, let me go to Atlanta," because they were very close to matching that ridiculous contract.
Right.
But he said, please don't match it. And they let him go because they were nice like that. But Hayward could do the same thing, but I don't think he's gonna come to that. I think he ends up returning to Utah.
Well, think about this too. If someone says, please don't match it, they don't want to be there. Why would you keep them?
Yeah, you don't want to keep someone.
You're keeping them in spite, and they're not going to play for you as good. It's not going to be production for your money.
Exactly. Number 8, Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry is a player that can carry a team. Now he was in over his head in the playoffs,
right?
Especially trying to get that game winner last year in Game 6, I think it was.
I think it was Game 6.
Whatever it was.
That layup.
The layup is not gonna happen. I was hoping he would have gotten it, but whatever. Kyle Lowry said they want to go to Miami, and they could use him. they could definitely use him.
Right, especially
You
if
know?
they dump Chalmers. I think they need to dump Chalmers anyway. He's nowhere on Kyle Lowry's though.
Yeah, I mean, you get Kyle Lowry and you have Shabazz Napier as his backup,
Whew.
and Napier learning from a guy like Lowry and a guy like LeBron James if he goes back. Napier could become a very good point guard in the future. He's a Miami Heat's point guard future is what it is. So Kyle Lowry's just a plug-in, let's win a couple titles guy. So
right.
He'd be great. I think he ends up with Miami. He just takes a pay cut to win for like 2 years, 2-3 years.
Right.
To win with Miami and then get paid off those title runs.
See, I'm gonna say that he stays in Toronto. I think so.
Yeah, I mean that could also happen if he's like, look, I want to bring a team up myself, which could happen. If they have a good team, they just then they draft the guys 2 years away from being 2 years away, and then you start wondering what the fuck is this front office doing? So
yeah, they seem a little bit messy, but who knows? I mean, they did well last year. They were number 3 in the East.
Yeah, well, in the East, the Suns would be number 2.
Right. Well, it's really you're looking at the top 4 in the East, and that's really it.
So yeah. Number 7, Kyle. Greg Monroe, power forward for Detroit Pistons. He's a restricted free agent, which means they can their first rights match. They can match any offer he gets.
Right.
That he signs. I really like him. He's gives you 18 and 10. He's the next big name in power forwards. The problem is he's in a logjam with Andre Drummond and especially Josh Smith, who was the worst signing I've seen in God knows how long. Joe Dumas fuck Detroit with that one.
I don't even understand why, if he can give him all that production, why he would take on Josh Smith, honestly, it's just a big name.
It is a big name. It's
just a big, because I never heard of Earl Monroe, honestly. I don't even think I've seen him play.
He played for Georgetown.
But think about this: is it just the numbers because he's on Detroit?
That's the other thing. But if he can give you 15 and 10, 14 and 10, he's still. I mean, you don't have to pay him $10 million a year. But
honestly, if he can just rebound,
if he can just rebound, you're fine.
And rim protect, you're good.
I mean, the problem and the thing is, he's not going to go to, he's not going to go to a running team like the Suns. Although I would love to get a rebounder like him. I think we have a better shot with Patterson. But I think he goes to an East Coast team and he's a power forward, that can score in Indiana or they can't pay him. So my prediction: he either stays with Detroit, they match it, whatever they get him.
Right.
And then they trade him somewhere else, or he ends up with Orlando.
Orlando might not be a bad idea. Chicago could use him if they dump Boozer.
If they dump Boozer and they don't sign Melo, yeah.
And they have that amnesty.
Yeah.
For Boozer.
I don't know.
They're gonna. I think.
Yeah, I mean, amnesty Boozer, trade Taj Gibson. In my opinion, trade him somewhere else.
See, they want to keep Taj.
I don't know why he's so limited. To my opinion, he's limited. But he's defensively, he's good.
I think he's defensively sound. I think he can give you those points when you need him too.
Yeah, but I think I would definitely pair up Monroe with Joakim Noah. So
yeah.
Anyway, number 6, and here's the one to me is the most intriguing. Dwyane Wade.
Why is this intriguing to you? I gotta know.
Let me explain, motherfucker. Shit.
Well, shit, get to it, motherfucker.
Dwyane Wade's intriguing.
Chewing on that shit.
Because even last year, even though he sat out 28 games for being hurt, all right, he still gave you 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Okay, still star numbers, even with the drop off of games, and that's his knee issue. He can figure that out. He's still a star. The thing with this is that it's very unlikely he leaves Miami unless someone decides to pay him $20 million a year. If someone comes up like, hey man, we'll give you 20, or we'll give you 18, and then it goes up from there. You have to look at that. You have to be like, ooh, shit. Oh, man, do I really? You know what I mean? Because, rumor is that he wants 15, 16 a year. Bosh wants 15, 16 a year. And LeBron wants the max. You know what I mean?
Right, he wants the max.
So unless they're bullshitting us like I think they are, and they're just going to, they're just going to be like, sorry, we're just going to cut down to like 15, whatever. 10 each. But I think there is definitely a chance that someone overpays. You know what I mean? And I think he's going to be the last one to sign with the Heat. If they all return, I think James signs first. No, Bosh signs first, then James, and then Wade will be like, okay, fine, I'll take $8 million or $10 million, whatever it is.
I think Bosh will sign for anything just to stay with Miami.
I think he likes
anything reasonable.
I think he likes it there.
I think he likes it there. He's a good supporting role there.
I think he'll get some big time offers, but I think Bosh definitely understands history and the fact that he's going to get paid off endorsements and off of everything else. So. I
think Wade definitely they lowball him Honestly, I think they lowball him, and rightfully so. 8 to 10 million, I think, is in his range right now.
Definitely, especially
for where he's going, depreciating. You have a great season, that's great. You made it to the playoffs. You got to play.
You got to play. In the finals, he didn't show up.
Yeah, he didn't. And
LeBron was by himself. Even you got to think that LeBron was like, do I really have to carry this team by myself the entire season and then the playoffs on top of it? Really, dude? You sat out 28 games, you should be good to go. Something else is wrong with that knee. It's not just it's sore. It's got to be like it's injured.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about Dwyane Wade to right up the road to Orlando?
I don't think he would do it, just for the fact that Dwyane's at the age where it's about titles. It's not about money. I mean, it's not about money. You have to look at the money anyway. But I just don't think. I think he's all about winning. He doesn't want to lose. You don't want to spend the rest of your career. Yeah, I'm making $20 million a year, but I'm losing every fucking game.
That's a hard spot for him to go into, because think about who would actually be contending right now. For a title. Think about this. He can't run like he used to. So
no
West
way.
Coast is out of the picture here.
He'd be going to a team that's like bring it up slowly and grind it out.
Right. So like
a fucking Knicks game.
No,
like a Knicks team.
They're not
gonna get him.
We're not. No, we wouldn't take him. We wouldn't offer him that shit.
Good on the fucking.
Listen, after the Amari bullshit, I don't think we want anybody with knee problems anymore.
I think everyone at Phoenix still laughing at you guys.
I think if Boston was in contention, Boston might be a good look for him. I think maybe Memphis might be a good look for him.
It'd be funny if he jumped to Indiana. It'd be funny as hell.
That would be funny too. I could see Indiana kind of doing it.
Yeah, I think ultimately, we're all getting played by the big three, and they're gonna just get back together. I think they're just allowing, because I mean, with them all three opting out, Miami has $55 million to play with, and then they have, I think they have bird rights on all three guys, so they can still bring them all back.
I honestly think that there's turmoil. I think it's because of LeBron. I think he has every right to be angry with those two right now. Well, at least with Wade.
Yeah, if I'm LeBron, I go to Wade and I'm like, look, man, we need to talk. What the hell's wrong with you?
Right.
And then from there, I decide, okay, we need to figure this out, because there's no way we're winning with your bad knee, and you're not starting. There's no way. You're maybe off the bench. Who knows? Like, we're about to see something big time not big time as far as his play, but we're about to see whether Dwyane Wade's willing to sacrifice money and his role with the Heat to win more titles. And I think he will. I think they all go back.
I can't see him in any other jersey, but
I don't want to, because I have Dwyane Wade's like one of my. He might be like my favorite player. I think he is my favorite player. In between him is number 1 and Damon Lillard is number 2, and then Eric Bledsoe's number 3.
I would like to see him in Chicago, but it's not going to happen now with those glass knees.
I think it'd be fun, but those knees are not going to do it. So, anyway, speaking of Eric Bledsoe, number 5, restricted free agent out of Phoenix, gives you 25 and 6, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists per 36 minutes with the Suns. The thing with him is that he was playing with Dragic, so I think he could be like 19 points, like 8 assists easily, maybe 9 assists. Without Dragic in the game, but I think Dragic helps him out a lot. So the thing with him is that it's just hard to see. It's hard because he's talked about he might want to leave. Like he doesn't. There's rumors that he doesn't want to play here. I don't 100% believe them, but there's just rumors he doesn't want to play here. But I also think he's a legitimate star. I think he's building up to be a legitimate star. As a young point guard, he can play defensively, and he plays both ends. What I'm happy about him with him, he plays both ends. You know what I mean? So my hope and what I think does happen is that no matter what someone tries to sign him for, I think Phoenix matches it. I think they recognize that Bledsoe is the star in the making, and they want to keep him. And I think I think Bledsoe will be great here.
No, I like him here too. Like I said, it's fun to watch these guys, and I think the 2-point guard pairing really great. I don't think he can really play a shooting guard role, just a premier shooting guard role, but I think it really makes it interesting when you have him and Dragic running the point.
I think Dragic running the shooting the 2 spot.
Yeah.
And Bledsoe being the primary ball handler is fine, but either one could do it.
Either one could do it, and that's what makes it dangerous.
Yeah. Where do you think he goes? What do you think stays?
Well, I think he stays, honestly. But if he truly wants to leave, I would want to leave for a contender. Miami could use it.
He has to take a huge pay cut.
You have to take a huge pay cut, but think about it. You're getting a ring.
True.
And then Chalmers is leaving. Chalmers was that plug-in guy. He was that guy.
How bad do you feel that Chalmers? I mean, how bad do you feel if you're Chalmers? Like you're like. Shit.
Well, I think Chalmers is just making it way worse for himself. I mean, you're beefing with LeBron James.
What the hell is that? Like,
over dumb shit, and it's
so
like
stupid.
That is stupid. You're beefing with pretty much the face of the franchise right now.
It's like Joe Biden beefing with Barack Obama for
Right.
stupid shit.
I mean, that's dumb. You're biting the hand that feeds you, honestly, because if LeBron says, I don't want him, he will be
he's
gone. He will be gone. He said,
I think he's already said it, dude.
I want Napier. They get Napier.
Yeah, think about it. The guy that used to call you like one of the best players on your team when they won that first title, like Rio's one of the best. He's the point guard we wanted, and all of a sudden he comes out and says, "Oh, I want Napier." Like, how bad do you feel if your chum is like, "Shit,
yeah,
I'm done here. I better go sucker somebody into a big contract just off these rings." And I think he will. I think someone else or they're not going to give him $10 million, but I think someone gives him 5 or 6, like Jared Dudley numbers. So
yeah, no, definitely.
Anyway, so Bledsoe, I think returns to Phoenix, and I hope he returns to Phoenix because I did spend $80 on the stupid jersey.
And I was there that day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's when the Knicks got trounced.
Yeah, we did get trounced.
You know what though? I am happy I got to see Melo play live finally. So
yeah,
he's fun to watch on TV. He's interesting to see live. Some of the shots he takes is insane. So number 4, a guy's not even worth talking about because everyone knows what he's doing. Dirk Nowitzki from the Dallas Mavericks spent his entire career with the Mavericks. He's not leaving.
He's not leaving. And like I said, he's a favorite of Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban's going to take care of him. That's the way it is.
He's going to take care of him. He's going to give him either a long contract with guaranteed money. That way, even if he retires, he still gets paid that money.
Right.
Or he's going to give him like a 2-year, 3-year contract worth a lot of money. So
I think he'll have to take the hometown discount.
I think he will. I think he'll take. I just think he's going to spread the same amount of money that he would get in 2 years. I think he'll spread it within like 5.
Yeah, or I would say probably 4. Yeah, 3, 4. Bless you.
That's the thing with live shows, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes you gotta sneeze.
That shit just happened.
Oh shit! Hopefully my face is on there. I make the weirdest fucking sneeze face ever. Oh, and I'm blinking a lot again. Anyway, so Dirk Nowitzki goes back to Dallas. Is no brainer.
I think it's no brainer there.
Okay, here's another intriguing one, but not as intriguing as Dwayne Wade. It's Chris Bosh. 18 points, 7 rebounds. His biggest thing, I think he's the reason that Miami can play the way they do, because he can spread that floor like nobody else.
Yeah.
The problem with him is not a true center.
No,
he's not. A power forward. And even he's spoken about the fact that he doesn't post up anymore. If he posted up more, he'd be more valuable.
I think so. I think you're absolutely right on that. But I don't remember him ever posting up. Like,
not with Miami.
Not with Miami.
They try to do it when the game slows down. They try to do it. But
I just think he's a key role player. He makes key plays. Like when he made that block against San Antonio, that was key. That could have lost the game for them right there if he didn't make that block.
That was huge. But I think he returns to Miami just for the fact that he doesn't want to leave. I think he likes it there. I think
so too.
He likes the team. He's being with LeBron and Wade. Even if LeBron left, I think he would stay. I think there's a rumor out there saying that Toronto's making a play for him, but I don't think he wants to be the man anymore. I think he just, you know what? I want to play with my friends.
Well, think about that. If you've been doing that for the last couple of years, why not just accept that and get a decent paycheck for it?
Decent paycheck and a shot at more rings.
I think he's a team player and he's willing to take that cut if they're willing to do something important.
So yeah, I think Bosh returns. I think it's no brainer. Bosh returns to the Heat no matter what LeBron does. So, and with that, we get into the stars of this free agency.
Yes.
Number 2. Being who I think is going to end up being the main star, because I think we already know what LeBron's going to do. But
exactly.
But I think the guy that's going to be changing zip codes here is Carmelo Anthony from the Knicks. Give you guys 25.7 rebounds, 3 assists a game. More importantly, he gives you a big name, a legit superstar,
right,
and a guy you can count on, and when the game's on the line. So the story with him has always been, he went to New York. He forced his way to New York from Denver. Denver got some high draft picks off of it.
Yes,
including this year's 11.
And then just a great base team, honestly.
I mean, they gave up a lot of guys. Wilson Chandler, Danilo Gallinari, Mozgov.
Guys who are winning us games, honestly.
Guys that were the Knicks basically traded the Knicks for Melo.
Yeah.
And it hasn't worked out. They haven't won anything. They tried to build around him with JR, with Tyson Chandler. They overpaid Tyson Chandler to get for Melo.
I would say legitimately it worked for 1 year.
Yeah, and then they tried to pair Amari Stoudemire with Melo, which would have worked, I think, to at least make him, get him to the Eastern Conference Finals pretty consistently. Had Amari not have, knees that are held together with gum.
So, right.
I mean, I think when Melo and Amari were to play together, both at a high level, that's a dangerous fucking team. Dangerous.
I think so too.
So, what do you think he ends up doing?
I mean, I think there's really two legitimate
Especially as a
choices.
Knicks fan.
Well, as a Knicks fan, there's two legitimate choices he's going to make. It's either going to be Chicago or back to New York.
Yeah.
I don't see him going down to play with Dwight. I don't see him going to play with Miami either.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he wants a balance. He wants money, but he also wants to win.
Yeah.
I think no matter where he goes, he's gonna have to suffer. He's gonna have to pretty much give them a year. You're gonna burn a year, no matter what.
You're gonna burn. You're just getting used to him, and I think it would depend on what team he goes to, though.
I think systems would have to definitely change. Like Chicago's system is gonna have to change. The way they run offense.
That's what I wonder. Is Thibodeau tough enough to be like, no, you're gonna change. You are plugging into my system, and we're gonna find out what happens. You're basically taking Luol Deng's scoring spot, which I think Melo would be happy with.
I think Tibbs likes him. He loves him. He wants him.
And I think Tibbs makes him play defense.
I think Tibbs is going to work on it. Yeah. Tibbs knows he can work on that with him. I think that's what the thing is. I think he has a really good respect for Tibbs too, and that's been shown.
Sure.
Oh, that's a system where you can plug in anything and then just win.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really strong place for him to go.
Yeah.
So I think if it's not New York for the money and for Phil Jackson, it's going to be for Chicago. But also New York has built a pretty solid. Going to build a solid foundation, and it shows signs of it now.
Yeah, I think Phil made a big splash by the drafts that he got. Picks that he got. I mean, they were out of the draft, and we bought their way in. And then getting rid of Tyson and especially Raymond Felton. Was huge. You can tell Felton and Melo did not like each other after a while.
And those are the two reasonable things that you can get rid of. I mean, you're not going to get rid of Bariani right now. You're not going to get rid of.
And I think that's what they're going to sell to. I think that's what Phil's going to sell to him. Like, look, man. Give us one more year. We're gonna get rid of these two guys. We're gonna give some big time cap space. Get you some help in here, but you got to give me that 1 year. Right. And I think Melo's gonna think about it. At 31 years old, do I really want to give you a year of my freaking prime? Because he's got maybe 2-3 years left to prime.
Right.
After that, he's just gonna be a guy that gets you points, and he'll be a clutch guy, but he's not gonna be prime Melo.
There's just a lot of question marks around everything because you go to Chicago, their point guard now.
Derrick Rose is on glass knees all the time.
Derrick Rose on glass knees. Yes, he'll come back for like 16 games, then he'll be out for the rest of the season.
Yep.
And who's their backup right now?
Oh yeah, I have a Bulls head on. I just realized that.
Backup is what? Jimmy Butler.
He'll be starting shooting guard. I think if they have him, because I don't know who else they have in there.
I'm trying to think of who else they have for a point guard. DJ Augustine.
He's a great backup though.
He's a good backup.
He kept them together.
He did. I mean, honestly, I would like to see him keep the other guy before that went to Denver, Nate Robinson more.
Oh yeah, Nate was great with the freaking Bulls. I mean, they just got rid
of him. He's a spark plug.
Yeah, he's just the fact that he wanted too much money.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think so. You think he goes to Chicago, New York? I think he goes to the Bulls, to the Chicago. Like I said, there is a report out there that says that Phoenix can make a run at him. I think if Phoenix got him, it'd be back to like the high speed, high scoring Suns days. I think he wants no part of the West, though. So I think he goes to Chicago, goes back to New York, with the very, very, very outside chance of doing something insane and making a big four or another big three, if you take out Wade of that, with Miami.
Big 3.5.
Big 3.5, basically. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna use that big 3.5. If he goes there, I'm gonna be like the big 3.5, because they're gonna be like everyone. The ESPN is gonna be like it's the big four. I'm like, no, 3.5. Bitch.
3.5.
Yeah, Wade's only got one leg. Anyway, so that brings us to the prize. I call it the prize in hiding, or the Mirage Prize is what I'm gonna call it. That everyone thinks they have a shot at LeBron James this year. I think nobody but he has a shot at LeBron James. I think there's an outside chance he leaves, depending on what Pat Riley do as far as re-signing Wade and re-signing Bosh. Depends on how much they take. And that ridiculous, and I call it ridiculous, I think it's bullshit, report that he wants max money. I think it's bull. I think he's just playing the media. This is almost a no-brainer for me that he returns to Miami with an outside chance of going somewhere else. I mean, again, that report out there that Suns want Melo and LeBron, and they can sign both right now with just being rid of maybe like one or two guys that don't matter.
Right.
That wouldn't change the team at all, dude. Like you could plug him in, and it'd be you can have a starting lineup of Dragic, Bledsoe, Melo, LeBron, and blank name here at center.
I don't think Bledsoe would be there.
I think he would be, but I think it would be something where, because Bledsoe and LeBron have the same, or Bledsoe and Melo, or Bledsoe and LeBron have the same agent. I think Bledsoe and LeBron have the same agent. I'm not sure.
Well, then you have to convince Bledsoe to take significantly less money than he's probably worth, and probably what he's gonna.
And I think if you do that, you go, look, man, we'll give you less money, more years,
right?
All right, you're gonna make that money anyway, and once your deal's over here, you win us a couple titles, someone's gonna pay you big time, and I think they will. But I mean, who knows? Like I said, Phoenix is a slim to like fuck that. It's not even slim to none. It's slim to fuck that. There's no way.
Pretty much, if you have the money, you just throw your name in there.
Oh yeah. If you have the money, throw your head in.
And they do. They have
because
the money.
Not only does that give you a very fat chance, but a chance of getting both those guys or one of those guys. It also shows every other free agent going, Phoenix has that cap space. Maybe I want to go over there next year or something. You know what I mean? I think I keep forgetting the GM's name, but he comes out of Boston. I think he's very good at playing chess. I think he's very good at playing poker and not showing you his cards.
Right.
And he just puts it out there like, hey, we got money, man. Come over here. We got money. You get paid and win. Why not? So, but ultimately, LeBron's going to be with the Miami Heat for another 3 years, I think.
Exactly. I think Melo is, like I said, he goes to either one of those places. I don't think he goes to the Suns. They would have to, it would be too much of a drastic change for them to.
It'd be insane.
Yeah, for them to like formulate an offense around him, which is gonna have to happen. He's gonna be premier.
It'd be awesome. Don't get me wrong, but it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I think plug and play with Chicago, plug and play with New York.
Exactly. And I don't think LeBron wants any part of the West.
I don't think so.
I don't think he wants to have to deal with Western Conference competition for an entire regular season, and then have to battle his way to the finals. Only to face an East Coast team that hasn't taken a hard road.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he's gonna beat up and everything. If he goes to the West, he gets injured way more than he has with the East. So
I think so too.
Because he hasn't had any serious injuries with the East. I think the West, he blows out a freaking knee from all the running and defending he has to do against big time names. So LeBron back to Miami.
Definitely.
So that does it for our pre-draft special. We will probably do here's what we'll do. Once all the big names have settled, we'll do another short podcast talking about where they went, how the deals went down, stuff like that. I'm liking this. I like these special podcasts and stuff. So I think we'll do one. We're gonna do one for the NFL once they get into training camp and stuff, and into maybe preseason mode.
I think so.
I think right before preseason, we'll talk about. We'll do predictions. Who's gonna get how far? Who's gonna get so many wins? Dark horses, stuff like that.
We should do it the 4th week of preseason, the very last week, That's
that's a good idea. We'll do that. So and then for that one, Quick will be here for that one, especially. I know.
Definitely.
We kind of did this one like last second, so we didn't get a lot of promo time for this one. But thank you for joining us for the ULI and BA Free Agency Edition, the first legit live one that we did, live podcast that we've done. Make sure you go to the ULI.com, which will have this on there, including the ULI 46, which is a really good podcast. You should check that one out. Go to the ULI.com, click on the banners on it. You help us out, and we'll give you better content, especially, we got big things coming up. So, thanks for joining us, and have a good night.
Peace.
Bitch. Go Suns.